Hey, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. We got the legend, Don Frye, with us. Ween Dog is here, waiting for Tyler. Don, how are you?
I'm good. You see my shirt?
Trump, 4 more years. Yes. And
no shit. Look at this, buddy. People's champ right here.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Unbelievable. Yes, unbelievable.
We're taking over, dude.
Don Frye is here.
Adam,
I don't know who I'm. I don't know
Adam,
who I'm.
You got to hop aboard.
I don't like. I don't think Joe Biden knows where he is right now. I can't get behind Joe Biden. I don't want him wandering around the White House at like 3 o'clock in the morning in his underwear, on like the front lawn. I'm a little nervous about having Joe Biden.
You should be.
Don't worry, we're not going to have him because Trump's going to win.
It seems that way, right?
This podcast has totally shifted to a political podcast by now.
Yeah, but
all MMA has gone out the window.
Last time everyone kept saying that Hillary was going to win. So who knows what people are, it's
not
like,
me.
Yeah.
Tyler, I'm so confused by a political stance, dude.
I had just woken up out of my coma, and I guess a week or so before, I don't know. All I remember was election day, and I couldn't follow what everybody was saying, and I thought she was winning. And I went to sleep that night thinking, oh, man, the world's over. I'm going to wake up in the morning and Hillary be president. And then when I woke up the next day, they said Trump. I was so fucking happy.
You know what? That happened a lot of times during your fights, too. Like, you were losing, and I went to sleep, and then you came back and won. So.
Yeah. Me too. I fell asleep, too, yeah.
I got to ask you about that because I went on, I was like, I miss Don Frye, and I want to watch some of Don Frye's fights. Dude, your fights, unbelievable. I mean, not a boring fight out of any of your fights. None of your fights are boring. I mean, all top-notch, amazing fights. So.
Thanks. I got some good opponents, I got really lucky. Back then he had a thing going, had good guys in the UFC. They all came to fight, and then in Pride, you were paid to fight. You weren't paid to go out there and try not to lose. You were paid to win or fight your way, from off the ground.
Well, your first fight, they put you up against a guy who's 400 pounds, Thomas Ramirez from Puerto Rico. They said he was 300-0 in street fights.
Right.
Now, what's going through your head?
That must have been fighting over the donut. Yeah, I thought, man, that's on big fat fucker,
Oh my God.
And I thought, hey, this is great, he's a local boy, he's a hero. I'll be the bad guy, because a couple times in high school and college, we'd go wrestle at the opponent's place, and they would boo me. So I kind of like that boo. And then I saw Tank Abbott, and I thought, well, hell, I'm going to be the new Tank Abbott. I'll be the bad guy now. And it didn't work out that way.
It's funny, when I was in high school, too, I wrestled, I think it was some tournament, Northern New England Championship, and it was the first time I ever got booed in the finals. And I loved it. I was like, this is awesome. This is actually better than them cheering in some ways. So
Right.
Now your next fight against Sam Atkins. No, a lot of your fights. So I was watching a lot of your fights. You were doing things that aren't legal today, which was pretty amazing. It was a fight. I mean, one fight, a guy was trying to take you down, and you grabbed the top of the cage. Not even the cage, the top of the cage.
Right.
And you were like holding on for life, and got off, but got out of it that way.
Well, there were no rules, and that was against Gary Goodridge in the finals. And he scooped me up, and I grabbed the cage, and John McCarthy said, "Let go of that cage." I'm like, "No, there's no freaking rules."
It's interesting. It's interesting. That's an interesting thing because they're trying to make it like a street fight, right? So are you saying in the street fight you can't grab the cage? And you can use the cage to take someone down, but you can't use the cage to defend? I always thought that was interesting. Like, I can pin someone up against the cage so they literally can't sprawl, they can't defend, none of that. but then they can't grab the cage, you know, like to defend themselves.
Yeah.
It's a weird little rule.
Yeah, you could use it in an offensive tactic, but not in a defensive tactic. Right.
And then one of your fights, you had the guy down, and you were elbowing him to the back of his spine, like down here, just boom, boom, right. Like, were you trying to break the guy's back?
That was Amari Batesh, and the guy was tougher than nails. You know, it was UFC 9 in Detroit, and yeah, I mean, I was just trying to temporarily paralyze him, or you know, or get after it, because that was you know, anything goes. I mean, yeah, you know, so I was trying to win the fight.
I mean, that was a great tactic, I thought. And then sometimes you were hitting the guys in the ribs, and they pan out, and his entire rib cage was black and blue, like instantly, fucking black and blue. It was like when Rocky beat that meat in fucking Rocky, what was it, 2 or 3, when he was at 1, when he was hitting meat, and you just
saw all about that, dude.
That's
all about beating that.
That's
meat.
what Don Frye was doing in fights.
It always goes back to, every conversation goes back to beating meat with you.
But what fight was that where you could see the guy's rib cage bruise up?
That was 10, I think. That idiot Mark Hall, you know. For once, I thought I had seen him fight in one of the earlier UFCs, and I thought he should have. I think in number 3, and it was like he should have won it, you know. And but he didn't, because he wasn't smart. And so I felt, you know, he's going to fight the great Don Frye, so I won't attack his face, you know. I'll take it easy on him. And I wore myself out by doing that. That's stupid.
Well, you beat him 3 times. This fucking guy went 0-3 against you. He must have been like, shit, why do I got to fight this guy again?
That's rough.
Right.
I mean, talk about having someone's number. And then when you fought Tank Abbott, Tank dropped you. Were you surprised how hard Tank hit?
No, you know, I was so surprised how stupid I was, you know, for all those years of training and sparring and competition, and I stood on both my heels, you know, and you know, you stand on both your heels, and a little girl can knock you on your ass.
Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do? Stand on one heel or no?
No, stay off your heels. You stand on the heels, just like wrestling.
Yeah, balls
you
on
know,
your feet.
you stay on the balls.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. I'm thinking the balls in your feet. I'm confused. Right. Got it. The balls. I think I'm the heel. I'm a fucking.
He confuses heels and his balls all the time.
Balls.
Yeah, 1000%. Now, then there was a fight. The fight against Akibono, right? Now you must be looking at Akibono as like this 500-pound Asian guy coming at you, and he almost did like a 700-pound guy.
He was rounds, yeah.
And he was cornering you in the ring. It was like a splash. It was like when what's his name used to do that fucking. I mean, that must have been smothering. How do you not fucking tap to just the fact you have a 700-pound guy on top of you?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it hurt because my back is already bad at that point. And when he would bum rush me right into the ropes, you know, it sent that shockwave down your legs, you know, of momentary paralysis, you know. And yeah, that one gets you a little nervous.
Now, what was you're fighting a 700-pound Akibono. What's your strategy going in there? Because you beat him in the 3rd, but I mean, just leg kick? Was it leg kick and run? Because you didn't even run. You stood fucking traded with this guy.
Yeah, well, my Steve Owen, you know, my trainer, quarterman, he said, okay, you're going to jab. You'll kick to the opposite side and go, you know, take a step around him. You know, when I finally got my head on my ass, started doing that, you know, I kicked him, and then there's no stepping around that guy. You know, it was a 40-yard sprint. God dang.
I mean, how relieved were you when he finally fell down?
Oh man, I was so happy, man. I was so happy because I had bronchitis that fight, and I just came back from a minor drug dependency. So that was my first fight back, So I'm so happy.
So you get off, you're addicted to drugs. I'm thinking probably painkillers, knowing all the fucking punches you take, and they give you Aki Bono as your. I mean, you got to be like, this is the guy you're giving me as my comeback fight, a 700-pound Asian fucking beast.
Well, actually, he was Hawaiian. He's a white boy,
right, Hawaiian. Yeah.
He was. I don't know if he was Samoan too or just Hawaiian, but he's a big boy, really nice guy too. Real name's Chad something. And shit, he just. I got up there, for the pre-fight pictures, photos, and you just keep looking up, kind of like you do with every person you meet.
Did you ever turn a fight down? Did you ever say, no, I won't fight that guy?
I don't think so.
Like nobody ever told you like, hey, Don, this is a bad fight for you. Like, hey, Don, like, this guy just might be a little bit, nobody ever, you just said, fuck it. Whoever's in front of me is who I'll fight.
What was what?
So you're just like, fuck it. Whoever's in front of me, that's who I'll fight.
Well, I mean, I'm supposed to be a fighter, right? So, fighter fight.
Yeah, of course. But it seems like
nowadays, nowadays they call up and say, hey, we have an event, on such a date you want to fight. Your response would be yes, but right away, these guys, their response is, who is it and how much, and I really don't have enough time to train. I have this, I have that, it's either yes, and then you do the negotiating, or you give the phone to somebody else to negotiate for you. But you say yes, and then you start training.
Now, you think guys just aren't built as tough as you are? Like, what makes Don? Like, did you always have that voice? Like, did you cry like, like did I could picture like a baby Don Frye coming out of the womb, like, give me some milk, mother, fucking get over here, like, fucking, and like you smack your mom on the ass, like it just seems like, was there ever a time that you were a pussy in your life?
I don't know. I don't remember. If it was a bad experience, and I put it away.
It was a long time ago.
I mean, I was watching Don Frye highlights this morning, which I was so happy, and some of the comments were fucking hilarious, man. And someone said, shows you how incredibly talented Freddie Mercury was. And then said Frye. Second one.
I think Dan Severn looks like Freddie Mercury, not me.
Yeah, not
I have a different bones.
Someone said Frye made his mustache out of Chuck Norris. That's the second one. Third one, it says, I think he would have fought a dinosaur if you can get one in the ring. Somebody said Frye made a Japanese guy look more Japanese. That's a little racist, but
that's funny.
That's hilarious.
So I was lucky enough to watch his UFC debut in 1996. He beat my coach, Brian Johnston. Afterwards, the two became friends. Don adopted the red, white, and blue shorts from Brian after Brian had a near life-ending neck injury and paralysis. I have mad respect and love for that guy. Is that true?
Yeah, he had a stroke back in 2001. I had kind of basically walked away from New Japan Pro Wrestling because, I was there for 4 years, and that's how dumb I was. I still didn't understand how the business culture worked over there. They let you go, wait till the last minute, and then they sign you. And whereas I thought, hell, I got 2 months, to go to my contract expires, and they haven't said anything, so, and then I called Pride and started training for Pride, and while I was doing that, I got the phone call that Brian had the stroke, and they want to know if I would come and finish the tour for him, and so I did, and then on the last match against Scott Norton, he did a clothesline, and I did some stupid ass twist, bump, and ended up popping my adductor muscle.
Ooh.
And so I waited 2 days and then went in and I pulled it real bad. So I took the rest of the week off, before the fight. And first time in the fight, he jumps on me, boom, and I go take him down and I blew it, boom. My trainer said he could hear it, explode over the crowd noise.
Oh.
What the hell was your result?
No, I was whether or not you took Brian's shorts. But I'm just reading the comments. Someone said Don tried shaving his mustache off once. It instantly grew back, no matter how many times he shaved it. Eventually, his razor dulled. He just gave up. And then someone says, time catches up to all of us. Don wasn't afraid of any living inside the solar system. He's full in human form. Don has a cast iron face. Badass Don Frye. So I mean, a lot of people.
I'm a what? Human form?
Someone said you're I don't know what that was. It says somebody says G.I. Joe, Bazooka Joe, Sergeant Slaughter, and Jack Daniels DNA in one. He hired him to destroy all social justice. So a lot of people says insert the real Rick Rude, and then the Wade Boggs of UFC. So, yeah, man, a lot of people really the embodiment of testosterone. My favorite fighter ever. When porn stars lose control. So yeah, a lot of people like fucking. I don't think that you realize how many people you've inspired.
That fucking surprised you or something?
A little bit.
That surprised you or?
It's surprising more that you have an orange house. So.
Hey, that way I can find it,
So Don, when do you think men started becoming soft? Because you're from an era of just hard men that are just manly men, and Tyler's a Marine, so you're kind of a manly man too. When do you think when did this process of guys becoming, soft start, and how do you change it?
What happened to generation after World War II? Because those guys came back from the war and they'd seen everything so bad, you went one or two ways. I mean, you either, hated everything was like so tough and you're like, you need to toughen up, or else you look at it and you go, God, you need to have an easy, perfect life because of what I saw. So, because after World War II, that generation, all these flower child, all that bullshit,
Yeah.
They need to have their asses kicked. And now those morons are in charge of the government,
Yep.
So what's a day in the life of Don Frye right now?
Oh, hell. Let's see. Wake up with my girlfriend. She wakes me up with a blowjob and a cup of coffee. And,
Every day?
And then she goes and makes me breakfast, and then she gets my towel, so I go out in the jacuzzi, and then I get out, she dries me off, and gets me a cigar, and starts make sure I have another cup of coffee, starts preparing my lunch for me, clean up my clothes and all that.
So you're just living the dream, huh? Don Frye is living every man's dream.
Don Frye is a fucking dream, baby.
Yeah.
Now, where do you find? I take it that a lot of girls wouldn't want to have this type of life, where they just sort of like girlfriend / servants. Where do you find a woman like that?
Well, you just got to convince him. You got to be a good enough monster in the bed.
Okay, so you gotta. Okay,
do whatever they need.
I mean, so how long do you go for? Like, is it like a Takayama fight for you, or just bang, 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 bang until somebody falls, or is it more of a slowly sensual?
Well, we time it with a calendar.
Oh my God.
You time sex. So you start on Tuesday and then you end on like Friday or
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing because I would think with all your injuries and your surgeries that maybe you'd be it would slow you down a little bit, but it seems like it hasn't, huh?
Well, it has slowed me down. Otherwise, I'd need 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
How's that work? How do you go so long with a blown adductor and a messed up back?
My body is jealous. One part gets blown, the other part's not blown.
Now, Don Frye, when you worked with William Shatner, right, on those commercials?
Just one commercial.
What was it? Because I hear horror stories about him. He's very arrogant and he's kind of pompous. Was he nice to you?
He didn't talk to anybody on the set. He came in, started doing his thing, argued with the director a little bit, and then finished the scene.
That's bullshit, man. You think that Don Frye he'd have respect for, like, right? I mean, Don Frye was an American hero. Now, if you went to Japan right now, would you get mobbed in Japan right now? Do people in Japan still love you and still send you fan mail and all kinds of stuff?
Well, I hope so. I was there February of last year, right? February or March, something like that. I did that one wrestling match.
Right. Now, are you a Ken Shamrock fan?
Yeah.
Because Shamrock still seems like the weirdest fighter I've ever talked to. Like, it's hard to really know who Ken Shamrock is.
Yeah, we're not friends, but we're not enemies. I haven't said anything bad about him since the fight. So
yeah, that was the funniest press conference when you walked in wearing that Hawaiian shirt, like you just got off a cruise or something. The funniest. It was comedy. So what do you think about a lot of fighters are against going during this pandemic? Other people, Dana White says May 9th, we're having a fight. You would have fought during this coronavirus, right?
Damn right. Hell, I'll commentate if Dana White or Mr. White needs a commentator. Mr. White, I'm available.
I would love that 100%.
Dude, you were the best commentator ever.
Saw that one.
I think it was during Shark Fights. It was like you and somebody during Shark Fights would get drunk and then to talk about your own fights. If the fights were boring, they would just talk about their fights. Who was it? It was you and somebody else.
Ron Kruk and Boss Rutan.
Yeah, you and Boz. That was the funniest. That was the best. That was honestly that was gold. Oh, they were fucking wasted, Tyler.
We were sober.
Oh, you were sober?
Oh, we were sober.
Well, you guys sounded wasted, and they would just talk about their fights, which was way more entertaining than the actual fights themselves. Like, if the fights were good, they would commentate. If not, you would just hear Boz and him just talk about how great they were. It was the best. That was like, man, like, people don't realize how great that was. Like, you guys would have.
Can we find this somewhere? Is this still on YouTube or something?
What was it? Shark Fights?
Yeah.
I want to listen to that. 13, right?
Yeah, it was Shark Fights 13. All right, so
yeah, it was the one and only pay-per-view. Unfortunately, because I thought they had a real good product. They really did. I enjoyed going to Texas there, and I thought they did a great job. But I guess they just lost too much money. They listened to the wrong person or something, and he had them spend too much money. But I think they really have a good company. It's a shame that they folded.
So Dana White is saying May 9th they're gonna have the event, and he's talking about this card, which looks like it's gonna be a great card. By the way, it's you, right? It's or is it? So
where's it at?
We don't know yet. Supposedly they're opening up a Fight Island, which is an island just for fighting, or it's in Florida because anything goes in Florida, or at an Indian casino at Tachi Palace. So I guess it's narrowed down to that. But the actual card looks pretty good. If it happens, you have Gaethje versus Ferguson.
Yeah.
Two guys who are like throwback fighters, like yourself. Who do you like in that fight, Don?
Yeah. I like them both, but I'll have to go with Ferguson. Ferguson knows how to put the boots to people.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he has Dominic Cruz versus Cejudo on that card.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah?
Who do you like?
You're late. I want you to be right on time from now on. It's so hard to get good help nowadays.
Oh,
so
cigar ain't gonna light itself.
So you like Cejudo or Dominic Cruz?
It depends on which Cruz shows up. It really does. I'm not talking the physical injuries. He just mentally, might be hard for him to come back after all those years of injuries, and he's been out for so long. So that's going to be the major question, But obviously, Cejudo's a terrific wrestler, criminy. So nobody can match him in that aspect. But Dominic really, he's got real good movement. The way he moves in and out and sideways is real confusing. And if Cejudo can't get set in order to take that shot, he's going to end up eating a lot of lefts.
Yeah.
Now, Frye, how come you never coached? Because it seems like you know a lot about the sport, obviously. How come you never open up your own gym or coach people?
No. Nobody's ever asked me.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of surprising, Tyler?
I mean,
to me.
Yeah, if I was at a level where I was worthy enough to ask Don Frye to coach me, then that's certainly something I would do. But
who else is on that card? Do we have?
I think Rose, right?
You would think I'd have a couple.
Yeah. Hey, is there any way in your house you get better service, better Wi-Fi, or maybe go through the phone? Just because it's a little spotty, right? Are you spotty for you too, Tyler?
Yeah, he's a little jumpy. Whatever. I'm not complaining.
That's me. I'm you know what? My girlfriend told me this is the best spot to be, so I came up front.
Okay, well then, hey man, you gotta listen to her. So, what do you think? Are you gonna put a ring on this one or what?
No, fuck no. I'm out. I'm 0 for 2. I'm not fucking over. That's enough.
You've been married twice. Wait, I thought you've been married once. You got married twice?
Yeah, I've been married twice. Yeah.
I know the last one was like a disaster. Yeah.
A disaster?
Yeah. Like I said, about coming home from war, you either believe everything everybody says or you believe nothing. Yeah, after my first divorce, I believed everything everybody told me, just eating up information. And after this one, I don't believe a fucking word anybody says.
I think that's the way to do, man. You just gotta trust your own instinct. What about Ween Dog? You should get married.
Yeah.
Because if any girl
getting married a few times in my life.
Wait, you plan on getting married a few times?
It's most likely, dude.
Most likely for the Ween.
It's in my future.
3 wives in Wayne's future for sure.
You know what's interesting, dudes? The UFC has filed 22 different trademarks for UFC Fight Island, just Fight Island in general. So I think they're planning to do some big things with this island. And I personally don't think the fight is going to happen on May 9th. I think it's going to be a longer wait than that until we have UFC again. But what do you think they should ultimately do with Fight Island? Should they just host a UFC event there, or should they make a TV show out of it?
I think they would.
Where's it at?
Keep it.
Who the fuck knows where
Nobody
Fight
knows
Island
where it is.
Who?
Nobody knows where it is.
Where's it
Yeah,
at?
everybody knows where it is, but like if they're doing all this work, it's not just going to be like to pull them out of a rut during the lockdown. You know, it's like fuck it. If we have the island, might as well use the island.
Oh yeah.
Maybe new Ultimate Fighters on the island. Survivor and Ultimate Fighter.
That'd be fucking amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, I think if you lose,
It's going to be real hard getting.
You got to get your own food. You have no shelter, and you fight every week.
I love that. Yeah,
Don Frye will be the host.
That would be great. Don Frye should
Don Frye's the host.
Seriously,
He's the
who would
ref.
watch Don Frye's Fight Island? Like that would be amazing.
That would be.
It would be interesting.
I'd have to go there a couple months in advance to interview the card girls, right?
Yeah, a couple months in advance.
You need that. Be thorough. You got to be thorough.
Yeah, I think Don, you're at that
Definitely.
age where you can say creepy things and like it doesn't. Like if you were younger and said the shit you said, people would get upset. But you're older, so women just laugh at you.
Yeah.
But then you're being. I can't tell you if you're serious or not because I think women are just like, oh, that he's like the uncle, the creepy uncle, ha ha ha, and you're like, eh. But I think that like, I don't know. I feel like eventually a girl's gonna settle you down, but you're not gonna say stuff because like that. But fuck it, who cares, right?
Yeah. Fucking who cares?
Right. Come here.
Now, Don, you obviously had a lot
What
of,
is happening?
I don't know what's going on right now. Don, you obviously had a lot of heart.
My boulder best.
Like in your fights, obviously it was hard. It was skill. It was hard. It was everything. You think you could teach heart, or you think you have it or you don't?
Yeah, you either have it or you don't. It's like being able to take a punch, you know? I don't care what your body looks like, how much conditioning you have, how strong you are, you know, how hard you hit. But because if you can't take that punch, you're in the wrong sport.
You think that's what happened with Brock Lesnar?
100%. 100%. You see it in the gym. I have a kid that trained with me. Not a kid. He's in his like early 20s. Always talked, I want to be a fighter. I'm going to be lightweight champ. I'm going to be lightweight champ. First sparring session, gets tapped like 40%. Turns around, turns his back. You ain't going to be shit, bro, if you keep acting like that. Like, sorry. That's rule one. Like, if you get punched and turn around, you're not fighting. It's not going to happen for you. Sorry to shatter your dream.
You're running.
Yeah. You think you could teach somebody to like take a punch and like roll with it, or like?
I mean, you can teach them technique for sure. Anybody can learn technique. You can learn how to box, but at the end of the day, like if your first instinct is when you get hit to turn around and bend over, like you can't technique that out of somebody.
That's what I like when Brock Lesnar got hit, right? And like when Brock got hit by Cain Velasquez or Overeem, I mean, Brock has to have gotten hit before in the gym, right?
Not like that.
But not like that? Is that what you think what happened?
Yeah.
It was just not like that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if you're getting hit in the gym and you're turning around, when we're not even, you know, we're throwing 20% and you're scared to get hit by 20%. Like maybe it's just you need to get cracked hard and see that you're not made of glass. And that you go, oh, okay. Well, I can handle this. But like, if that never happens, then
there was a big debate on the underground who would win in their prime, Brock Lesnar or Mark Coleman. I don't think anyone would be more equipped to answer this than the guy we have on the show right now, Don Frye. Don Frye, who wins, Mark Coleman or Brock Lesnar in their prime?
In their prime, I'd have to go with Coleman because you know, he was just so damn strong. I mean, the thing is, he's a different wrestler. You know, Brock was a national champion, where Coleman was on the Olympic team. You know, so that's a whole different level, couple levels up.
Well, we're joined right now with a guy who is got a record of 15-1 on a 5-fight winning streak. Grant Dawson is awesome, great fighter, young prospect, got everything going for him. He's got the total package. You're here with the legend Don Frye, Ween Dog, Tyler Smith. How are you doing, Grant?
Fantastic. How you doing, Adam?
Good. How's this whole thing, the whole pandemic? How's it affecting you?
Man, all I really do is train and sit at home. So we don't have as many training partners. We're doing like little sessions kind of in our garage and stuff like that. But I'm still training twice a day and getting everything in. I'm definitely ready for this to be over, man. I'm ready for life to go back to normal and everybody get back to being happy.
So are you bringing over training partners?
Yeah. My teammates are coming over and helping me out. The gym is closed, but I got mats and stuff in our garage. They can't kick me out of my own garage. So we're just training with partners and stuff like that when we can get it in.
Nice. Your last fight was awesome, by the way. It was word though. The guy was tough, and they were building him as the favorite. Like they were saying how great every one of your fights, the UFC seems to think you're going to lose because they keep saying how good your opponent is, and then you keep winning. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really bug me. I think that they got to promote somebody, and if they promote them and then I beat them, I get that glory right away. So I'm cool with it, man. It never bugs me who people think are going to win. I think I'm going to win them all.
Frye, did you ever have that where the promotion was like favoring your opponent?
Oh, every time I went in the ring. Shit.
Now, the guy caught you in a guillotine. It was tight. And look, your neck was extended. He had it. How did you get out of that?
That morning I drank a big glass of Man Up, and I just got out of it. No, man, my gym, we have a bunch of guillotiners, man. Literally, I'm in a guillotine pretty much every single day. So when he snatched it up, my brain wasn't even like considering what to do. My body just knows what to do. I attacked the hips. I got to my back and I escaped. And I was actually really happy it happened because I knew that was his best shot to beat me. And then when I got out of it, I could feel the break in him. I could feel that dang it, didn't get it, and after that I knew it was going to be over. It was just a matter of time.
Frye, how many fights have you had where you can feel the break in your opponent?
Who you talking to, boy?
You. I'm saying, you felt that? Could you see, was there moments where you're like, fuck, this guy's giving up? Or you're happy at least?
Yeah, you can feel them physically and mentally break. They generally breaks mentally first. If they were any kind of tough opponent. But yeah, when they go, it's just like this little internal yelp and scream.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. There. And then you had him in the second round. You tapped him out. I was so proud of you, man. How'd you celebrate?
I celebrate the same way. I don't drink or anything like that. So I kind of just went back to my hotel and waited for the next one. I thought we were gonna have a pretty quick turnaround, so I started. I was back in the gym on Monday getting ready, and then this whole pandemic shit happened. So, who knows? But for me, there's nothing worth celebrating until we're at the top.
Well, Don used to celebrate by lining up Asian girls and plowing them all, like 5 at a time. And you celebrate.
I'm pretty sure my girlfriend would rip my head off if I did that. And she's also a fighter, so she knows where to find me.
And she's tougher than you too, huh?
Oh, way tougher. Way tougher. That girl's got abs on top of her abs.
Yeah, she is. And she's actually really pretty and nerdy looking. Like she's got glasses and you think she's like a bookworm. You're like, oh wow, look at this nice little virgin nerd girl. And then you see her on Instagram, she's got like a 10-pack. She's all shredded. You're like, what the fuck? She's like
launching bitches on their face.
Yeah. Her legs are over her head. You're like, wait, this was the same girl. It's nuts. It's crazy. Great follow, by the way. Now, Now, Grant, you came in, you missed weight by 3.5 pounds. What happened?
You know, man, it was just one of those things. We had a super long camp. I was dealing with some USADA issues to where I had to fly to Vegas and back, and I was on a plane like six or seven times, you know. There's no excuse. I'm not trying to give an excuse here. It just, you know, it wasn't my day. We didn't make it. It was a one-time thing. I think everybody gets one, and that was my one, and it's not going to happen again. I talked to the UFC. I talked to my management, and I told them if it ever happens again or even comes close, I'll move up a weight class, no questions asked. But we're going to give 45 another shot, and I'm going to make sure everything's taken care of ahead of time.
So what happened was you popped.
You should have told them if it ever you're on fire their ass.
Here's where I think you got fucked, Grant, because you didn't even pop for anything. Like it was like in like your smoothie or something, right? And then like USADA. So then you had to go, and like USADA didn't come to you. You had to go to Vegas to do that stuff. And then So what happened was we had this whole situation happen 16 to over a year ago. I got suspended for 16 months. We proved my name innocent, and then we figured out what was wrong, and that this picogram is in my system. It's in John Jones's system, you know, and so basically what they said was they made a level that it can be under, and if it's under that level, it's not a failed test. They're like, it's so small, it can't help you, and we don't even know why it's there. What happened with my Chad Skelly fight, which is supposed to be January 18th, is it came back under that level. The UFC said, hey, you're fine. It's not a failed test. USADA said, hey, you're fine. It's not a failed test. And then Nevada said, the athletic commission said, no, screw you. You're not fighting. And you have to come to Vegas to do a bunch of meetings before your next fight. And then they were like, hey, we'll schedule for 4 weeks later, but you got to fly back and forth from Vegas to get this all figured out. So that's, we were flying back and forth, which sucks, and dealing with that in a camp, but it's behind me now. And who paid for those flights?
The UFC was kind enough to pay for those flights.
Oh man, but that's what a pain in the ass. So you got to cut weight while flying to Vegas every week from Missouri.
Yep.
They can't just send a person from USADA to Missouri to test you?
No, it was for basically we were pleading our case on why. It was like a court case. We were pleading our case on why it's okay for this to happen. We were scheduled to do a phone call, and then they were like, nope, you have to come here. We went there. It got canceled. We went back. We came back. When we got there, we went into the courtroom. I didn't say a single word. They were like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're good. See you later. And I was like, why the hell did I even have to be here? I didn't it made no sense, but you know, it's behind us. I'm actually.
It's all about control, you know. I tell you what, all the fighters and all the athletes on the planet need to get together and tell USADA to kiss their ass. You know, say, you know, we're gonna quit playing soccer, we're gonna play baseball, just like this goddamn coronavirus. They just, you know, everything stops. So all the athletes need to get together and say, hey, USADA, fuck off.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, it's come along. I mean, he's fighting in court cases now. Back in the day, you were hopping on, you were headbutting and elbowing and fucking elbows to the spines and eye gouging and fish hooking.
Punching the groin.
Yeah.
Pulling the there are no rules. Yeah.
Damn. Now,
what?
Now, Don, so my man Grant had
so bad.
So Grant had 9 amateur fights. He was 8-1 as an amateur. Is he a pussy for taking those fights? Because you didn't have amateur fights. Don't you think these guys are soft? They fucking.
No, I think everybody should have to have amateur fights and then move from amateur up to semi-pro, because you're not a pro just because you get paid $200 for a fight, okay? You are not a pro until you are making enough money to sustain your life at that point, you know? Not, like I said before, You can't be an accountant and go do all your 8 hours of accounting and then drive over to the gym and put in an hour and a half in the gym and then on the weekend run 2 miles and call yourself a pro athlete. No, that's bullshit. A pro athlete, somebody who's 9 to 5 is training for the fight.
Well, this kid Grant is the future. He's 15-1. I mean, Don, you love the way he fights. He's a badass fighter, but he had to work at an old age home up until like a month ago. Are you still working there or no?
No. After I got into the UFC, I was able to quit and put my money to good use. Thankfully, I have a coach in James Krause who's really good at getting his fighters to handle their money and not just blow it on stupid stuff. So thankfully, with the right guidance, I've been able to not have to work and spend my money properly.
Oh,
Which,
good.
by the way, James Krause,
G.
What a G James Krause is.
Last fight, dude.
Is, and arguably winning a fight. Like,
he won that fight.
James Krause.
Yeah, absolutely. Frye, what were you saying?
I said, did he get you a prenup? That's the best thing any manager can do. Fighters.
Your manager made you sign a prenup?
No, he didn't. That's why he fucking. That's why he's telling him. Yeah.
I wish he did.
Yeah. So, Krause. Krause. Grant, you've been with this girl for what? 3 years? 4 years?
We're coming up on 3 years here in a couple months.
Is she pressuring you to marrying her or what?
Wow, this got deep. What's going on? Did she call you? Did she call you? And hey, I know you're talking to Grant today. Why don't you slip something in there?
Tell us. You getting married?
It did seem like that when I met her. She was like nudging you. The way she looked at you, she was like, all right.
Well, of course. Look at me.
Oh, his girlfriend likes him? What a surprise.
Yeah, that's weird. Adam's not used to that.
Not everybody.
Girl you're with actually liking you.
Okay?
Yeah, I freaking tricked my wife. So I'm trying to get the caveman, Dave Rickels, Dan, is also calling in. So did you ever watch any of Don Frye's fights, Grant?
Oh yeah. My favorite one was I can't remember the other guy's name.
Was he Asian?
Yeah.
There you go.
The guys grabbed each other's heads.
Takayama.
Akiyama. Yeah.
Now, was that one of those things where you were like the first person were you surprised when Takayama pulled guard on you?
When he pulled guard on me. When did he pull guard on me?
Well, it seemed like he just kind of after getting hit 10,000 times, he was like, all right, maybe I'll try to. Did you take him down, or did he just like jump on his back? It seemed like he sort of was like a half pull guard, half a collapse.
Right. A lot of heavyweights do that shit, in wrestling. Forget to use their hips. And, I was lucky. Like I said, my last year of college, I wrestled heavyweight and I probably weighed 205 or 200. And you learn how to throw your hips around, bigger guy. So when he went to throw me, I moved my hips to the outside. And so he had nothing to launch me, with. So he just went to the back.
Got it. I couldn't see. It seemed like a lot of the guys, even like the guys you hit, Don, they fell down and you didn't even get you got clean shots. But a lot of times, like you hit guys like Tank Abbott, it was like a punch / push. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was almost like you like pushed him /
right.
him. Yeah.
Well, I stumbled and I headbutted him, fell into his head. But, I watched something last week where he was bitching about the fight and talking shit, and break it down real easy is I went down the beginning, I got back up. He went down at the end, he didn't get back up. Okay? So cry all you fucking want.
Now, Grant, would you do MMA and join the UFC if it was like no holds barred, like how it was back in the day?
No. No. You ain't punching me in the dick.
You don't want someone squeezing your balls
Adam
ferociously.
just wants to punch me in the dick.
No, I'm just saying. Really, you wouldn't for real?
No way.
Really?
No way. No. You ain't biting me. Get out of here.
Oh wow! All right. I don't know. I would assume you're the kind of guy that would. You're from Nebraska. You have like a good old boys thing, you know.
Oh, hey, I'm down to scrap, man. But you start hitting me in the dick, we're gonna have some real problems, dog. You bite me, we're gonna have real problems, bro. I'm gonna shoot your family. Fuck.
Shoot your family.
I want to know like how many. So the classic debate is always like, oh, who in their prime would beat who? What I want to know is how many of the dudes from those early days would still be able to compete right now? You know, like Don, if you had like obviously you, because you're just a
Don, Dan Severn. I'd say the athletes.
But like, yeah, how are there just a handful of guys, the champions, that would still be able to make it now, or you think it's more of a mental?
No, every guy who was champion could compete. You know,
Yeah.
Just because you fought in the UFC, it doesn't mean anything. Shit. There's been 10,000 people fighting the UFC, and some of them are fucking pumping gas now. So it doesn't mean somebody's got to hold the horses.
Well,
Right.
Don Frye, we have another. You're obviously the first caveman on the show. We have another caveman here, Dave Rickels, the caveman, Bellator fighter, the most fights in Bellator history, 21 fights, complete badass. Now is doing bare knuckle boxing out of Wichita, Kansas. Came to my show 3 weeks ago, right before the whole thing started. Dave, how you doing, man?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good. You're here with Grant Dawson, 1501 UFC fighter, the legend Don Frye, Green Dog and Tyler.
Hey, do you have any African American paraplegic basketball players I can make fun of?
No, well, I'll explain this. At my comedy show, the paraplegic basketball team came to my show, and there was like 6 white guys and 1 black guy, and they're all in wheelchairs. And I was like, I wonder who the best guy on the team is. And they were just all fucking dying laughing because he really was the best guy on the team.
You really killed it.
Of course he was.
Thank you. Now, Rickels, you were set to make your bare knuckle boxing debut that week. Why did you go into bare knuckle boxing? How did you train for this? Talk to me.
How did I get into it? They literally just asked me to do it. That's how that went down, bro. Yeah, I've just been getting ready for it, man. I don't know, just honing in on doing one-dimensional boxing training. I was hitting mitts just with my bare knucks, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I like to fight in the pocket. I'm kind of a nitty-gritty, aggressive fighter anyway, so I kind of feel like it fits my style.
No, I was excited about it, man. Bare knuckle boxing is a whole different thing. How disappointed were you when the fight got canceled? Dave, can you hear me? Tyler, you can hear me?
Technical difficulties.
Don, can you hear me? Grant?
Yep.
Yeah, I got you.
Don, I'm surprised.
I didn't leave you, buddy.
Two cavemen don't have internet.
All right, so I'm surprised you never did bare knuckle boxing, Frye.
Me too. Shit, I was looking into it, and it looks like they tape the hands, right?
Yeah.
It's not really bare knuckle.
I think they take up over the top. Almost like a hand wrap, where it's just over the top of the knuckles and then like the wrist.
Didn't you call out Mike Tyson?
Like over though.
You wanted to box Mike Tyson at one point.
Oh yeah, that was a bullshit call out because I was crippled up at the time, But I just showed up for Mike Tyson money, was that.
Now, Grant, who do you want to fight next?
We're actually chasing that Darren Elkins fight, But man, I keep telling people that by the end of this year, I want to be ranked in the top 15. So anybody in that top 15, let's do it. I think I'm better than all of them. I think I can beat all of them. So whoever they put in front of me. But right now, what makes sense is Darren Elkins, and I won't say no to anybody they offer.
Yeah.
I love a Darren Elkins. Any Darren Elkins fight, I think you're a good matchup for him too.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to take damage, obviously, and you're not just gonna pepper him up. Like it's gonna.
Well, when you get the damage tattooed on your chest, you better be willing to take some damage, man.
Yeah.
There's no going back after that one.
Yeah.
But isn't that a rough fight for you though? Because Elkins is coming off like 2 losses, and you're coming off 5 wins.
But his losses are to the world champion and Ryan Hall, everybody who's ranked. It just makes sense as the next step. I'm all for whoever they want, but at the end of the day, this is a game for us lower level guys. This is a game, and you got to take the next name that they'll give you. I can't just.
Would you fight Ryan Hall?
Let's fight, because they're gonna laugh at me. But if it's somebody that makes sense, that has a big name, that'll push me through. And Volkanovski and Ryan Hall couldn't finish him, so if I can finish him, that'll say something too. And then we'll have the leverage to say, hey, somebody in the top 15.
Grant, would you fight Ryan Hall? Because nobody wants to fucking fight Ryan Hall.
He's scheduled to fight Ricardo Lamas, but I'm not afraid of that fight. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's gonna be a boring ass fight. He's gonna lay on his back, and I'm gonna have to be real careful. But
right.
I'm not afraid of any of these guys. There's more exciting fights out there for me. A Shane Burgos or Dan Ige. Yeah. Those are the fights that I'm looking for. The guys that aren't gonna, as soon as I start pressuring them, they're not gonna lay on their back and hold me between their legs. They're gonna fight me. I'm a wrestler. I'm a grappler.
Yeah, you're a wrestler.
And I think that Ryan Hall's a boring ass fighter. So, I want somebody who's gonna try to fight me.
Whatever.
Absolutely. Dave Rickels, can you hear us?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm poor, dude. Can't afford good internet, so.
No, you're not poor, and you got a smoking hot girlfriend. I met her in Wichita, Kansas. You're doing all right, man. You're like the man in Wichita, Kansas. It's like I went to Wichita. Everyone knows Dave Rickels. Dave runs a gym. He runs a fight promotion. This now. What happened with Bellator? What happened? Why did Bellator let you go to bare knuckle boxing?
Well, actually, my contract was up, and we were doing some negotiations with Bellator. We were talking to ONE FC. We were talking to pretty much everybody, honestly. And it boiled down to what I wanted to do. Well, Bellator was trying to lowball me on money, trying to go down on my money on my contract. So it really kind of pissed me off. So I was like, all right, let's do something else.
Yeah, I don't see why they would. You had 23 Bellator fights. Yeah, 23. And a lot of fucking wins too, so it's kind of interesting, but yeah. And dude, you're I don't know, Frye, if you've ever seen this guy. He walks in, he's got the craziest walkouts, best in MMA. One, he had a dinosaur next to him. He had a dinosaur, and he was the caveman. Then you had like a throne. That was a pretty good one. Then you had
the Flintstone car.
The Flintstone car.
Fucking badass, dude.
That shit was legendary.
Who makes this stuff?
Me and my dad.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You need to
get it, by the way.
Get your hair.
Get him a what?
You need to get a chick with long hair, with a skateboarder in your ass, and drag her to the ring.
Yeah, you know, chick with long.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm sure I wouldn't get any complaints about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Twitter
Twitter
wouldn't even notice.
That'd get you more hits.
Yeah. Oh, I know it would. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Now, when you train for bare knuckle boxing, is it do you actually box without no gloves on?
Hell no. Yeah, that's not happening. A few of the guys were like, "Yo, do you want to do some like bare knuckle, sparring and stuff like that?" And we did. The closest I got to that was just doing all pure boxing stand up with MMA gloves, and that's because dude, you just can't be taking cuts like that getting ready for a fight. So,
but even with MMA gloves, like sparring with MMA gloves, fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, it does. 100%. I agree with you. I'm like, big gloves? Oh, you guys want to do big gloves? Let's do big gloves.
I watched one of your fights. I watched one of your videos. You were in the woods sparring. You were like hitting trees and like
Mortal Kombat, baby.
Is that what you? Why are you in the woods? Is that what you do?
That's the only place we can train around here.
Really?
That's all it is, dude. Just woods.
Just woods, bro.
Everything else.
Actually, in Kansas, that's what we're known for is woods. No, I don't know. That was a really weird Bellator promo we did where like they didn't have any footage on me, so we just walked behind the hotel in Oklahoma and started like punching trees and shit. It was pretty funny.
The Russian family, that little girl, just always fucking up trees.
Yeah, dude.
This like
my daughter was like, "You need to do that. You need to go punch some trees." I'm like, "No, I don't. You go punch some trees. Go ahead."
Cool. That was Well, here you are. You're in Wichita. By the way, have you ever seen Grant Dawson fight?
I have, dude. Grant's a badass.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close to each other. I need to come up and train with you guys sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. You fought Bobby Cooper. He's one of my teammates.
Yeah, Bobby's awesome, man. He's really cool. Yeah, it was not a good fight for him, but yeah.
He's great, man.
You ever watched some of Don Frye's fights?
What? Of course I've watched some Don Frye action, baby. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Dave is Don Frye 2.0. What are you talking about?
Dave is the new Don.
If I could get someone to sign up and we'll just stand there in one spot and beat the hell out of each other, I'm definitely down.
Now you had a fight promotion in Wichita. Now a lot of fighters start their own promotion. How hard is that to make that work? Really hard, and luckily I have another brain on the operation with me. He is the brain. I'm the face, baby. I'm the looks. I deal with the fighters mostly, the matchmaking, which even that process is like glorified babysitting, you know. Especially these days, man, like fighters don't really want to fight anymore. They're not signing. They want to get Instagram likes and all that sort of shit. So there's very few fighters who just want to brawl and get down anymore.
Grant's one.
Yeah, no, that's what Don was saying. That like back in the day, he never turned down a fight. Like
I believe it, 100%.
It didn't matter who was in front of him. Like
because okay, so you're talking about like that era where like, okay, I think I was the very tail end of that era. Like you couldn't watch tape on anybody. I would show up and they'd be like, "Oh, your guy already weighed in. Like you can trust that, right?" And they'd never check your gloves. I fought on a dirt floor in Oklahoma with just three, like they just made some makeshift ring in a barn. So like I was on the tail end of that stuff. I'm 31 and it's insane to see how much has changed.
Hold on, let's talk about the barn for a second. So you walk into a barn and there's no ring, or like
there's no ring. There's no ring at all. This was a Muay Thai fight. And I knocked the guy through the ropes. It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
So they're just trying to make it as traditional as possible then.
That's right, yeah.
You're going to fight on a dirt floor, put some rope around, it'll be fine.
I'm pretty sure people from Oklahoma still fight that way.
So do you think Grant's spoiled because he doesn't have to fight on dirt roads and in barns?
They get married that way. What are you talking about?
Hold up. I was 22-0 in the backyard. Just saying. We had fights every Tuesday night. 22-0 with my classmates. Just saying, dog.
Shut up, for real?
For real. 22-0 as a backyard fighter.
In my backyard. That's hilarious.
As a sixth grader.
He was homeschooled though, so it was just him beating his son.
I fucked my sister up.
Fuck you, mom.
I ain't messing with her. We had a duct tape belt and everything.
Of course. Grant, where did you meet your girlfriend, by the way?
That's dope.
She trained at a gym in Springfield, Missouri, and she spotted a couple of girls that are on my team. And one day she added me on Snapchat, and I came up with this really great line that just reeled her in. I said, "When's your next fight?" And we've been together ever since.
By the way, speaking of beautiful girls that can fight, we have an Olympian, Sara McMann, is with us right now. Sara McMann, you are on the podcast. We got Grant Dawson, the caveman Dave Rickels, the Marine Tyler Smith, and the legend Don Frye. How are you doing, Sara McMann?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Got it. Are you familiar with any of these people's work?
I am not, but I basically am almost a hermit these days. I just have a lot of stuff to do. So.
Okay. Well, so Grant Dawson is a 15-1. I wouldn't even say prospect anymore. He's undefeated in the UFC. The Caveman is like what 33-6 in Bellator. Is this
basically
a monster? And Don Frye, you know who Don Frye is, right?
Yes, I know Don Frye.
Don Frye is a fighter turned porn star, who is just killing it. And then Tyler Smith we coach wrestling together for middle school. Sara was an Olympic silver medalist, but a gold medalist in my eyes. So how is the quarantine affecting you?
So I'm super fortunate, but it's not that bad. Cause I have a 1-year-old. So I basically stayed indoors like a lot of times anyways. And then I train, with Chad a lot. So that's not much different at all. I do miss going to the gym though. I definitely miss training with the guys at Team Alpha Male, but I'm lucky that I don't have to be barred from training altogether. So, it's just slightly different, but it's not that bad.
Aren't you opening up your own gym though, too?
Yes. So that kind of sucks because we literally opened our doors and 2 days later they shut down everything for gyms. So we're like, fuck. But it really, like, I kind of expected, if you open a business, you have to anticipate that it's going to be slow in the beginning. And, I just factored that in, just kind of was ready for it. So now it's for a different reason, but it's okay. I really think coming out of this, people, they're going to want to get back out. They're going to want to go, to their regular places, and they're going to resume their lives as much as they can. So I'm not worried about it.
Now, Dave, you have a gym, right?
No, I don't actually.
Did you ever have a gym?
No. I still train with my original coach, actually. Yeah.
First coach ever.
First coach ever. Yep.
Awesome.
Wow. Now, was Team Alpha Male cool with you opening up your own gym, or is there kind of friction?
No. Uriah knew about it even when we first moved here. Chad, he was helping out and doing stuff at the UFC gym, but he knew all along that like our longer term plan was to, for him to open a gym. But I kind of somehow got a little bit roped into it too, because I don't know, like wrestling really complements a lot of the jiu-jitsu stuff. So, I mean, we're like 15 miles away, and with Team Alpha Male, they do a lot of fitness stuff, and then they also it's MMA based, so they have a jiu-jitsu program, but it's not their main thing. And we are just strictly jiu-jitsu and wrestling. So we're not really like a threat.
Not competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats on your last fight. Your last fight was awesome. I was so proud of you. You used obviously wrestle. Were you in the back of your head, were you just like, let's get the win any means possible and don't go for anything kind of silly where you could get caught?
So I think that I was more smart, and I did need the win on many fronts. Just to be totally transparent, like I really thought that I was going into the last fight on my contract, so there's pressure and urgency there. It wasn't, because it got extended because of my pregnancy, but I didn't know that before. I had lost 2 fights in a row, both which I were winning. Both, so mistakes cost me, offense cost me. But really what I thought was that going into my fights in the future, I'm just better when I control people. And that's what I like to do. And that's what I've always loved about wrestling. And so I'm like, I'm not going to give any space. I'm not going to allow anyone out of my control, because not only am I good at it, but I really like it. And so I'm a little bit more like Khabib than like what I originally wanted to be. I wanted to be someone, because I can hit really hard. So I kind of wanted to like utilize that too. But when you're up and you're in the fray of things, if boxing isn't your forte or kickboxing isn't, it's still a toss up. If I'm in their range, they're in my range, but with wrestling, once I touch somebody, I feel like I can completely manipulate their body, and it's now uneven, and I just need to keep it there.
Yeah. Dave, can you relate to that? Like fighting, sort of like, that your contract's coming up and you got to get the win. You have all that pressure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, kind of in a way, because truthfully, I was in a position with Bellator where like I thought that would kind of never go away. I was kind of spoiled. because, you know, longest tenure running vet of Bellator, 23 fights for them. Lots of wins, tournament semifinalist, tournament champion. So, you know, I really loved the company. I loved everybody there, and it's kind of weird parting ways with them, but yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out this bare knuckle.
Absolutely. Now, Don, isn't that kind of what's wrong with the UFC right now, and in general, is that fighters don't have that, like you never were on the verge of getting cut from Pride because you know you had exciting fights. Didn't matter how many times you lost, as long as they were exciting. Whereas now, people are so worried that like they're gonna get cut.
Right. Well, they train not they fight not to lose instead of fighting to win. You know, because if you lose too many times, you're gone. You know, and like back in Pride, they would say, "We don't care whether you win or lose. Just give us an exciting fight."
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Sarah,
I think that's how it should be, honestly.
By the way,
I don't know.
It should be the priority for, you know.
Yeah,
we're old school though.
That.
We're old.
Yeah, no, and that's definitely a wrestling mentality too. And it's not like I went out there thinking I can't lose, but I think I'd be foolish, especially having a family, if I was completely like arrogant and like I'm just gonna go for a flying armbar and do something reckless that's out of my wheelhouse. Like just to put on a show, knowing that it's a very real possibility of getting cut because that changes my whole life. So, like there's fighting in fear, and then there's being smart. Like
right. Yeah. Because the last couple fights, like you were dominating, and then like 2-second mistake, and I'm like, no. It was like, yeah.
And so I was just intent on winning, and if I reduce my errors, I win.
Yeah.
But and then that's been the same thing in wrestling. It wasn't necessarily that someone beat me. It's that I made an error and allowed them in, and they capitalized off it. And that was like, so like,
yeah,
there's something to be said about making less mistakes.
No, absolutely. And by the way, I love the videos you and your husband put up. Don, what were you saying?
A couple of years ago, last time I was healthy, I was in UFC. I was in Vegas, and I saw Sarah's loss. I don't know, the first loss, second loss, I don't know, but you know what? You're winning that fight, and your cornerman lost you that fight, not you. The trainers, the cornermen, they should have everything scoped out. They should have, the most possibilities, know what your opponent's going to do, and they gave you the wrong advice, and they lost you that fight. You didn't lose that fight.
Well, I mean, like, I appreciate it, but I think that if I'm ever going to be a champion, what I want to be, then I have to take that on myself too. Like I'm smart. I can look at people and I can scout. And sometimes like in the fray of things too, I have to be able to make those split-second decisions. Like you won't always have your corner to rely on. So like as much as I can, I put everything that I can on me because I'm the one out there. I don't know what they said. And I do know how they prepared me, and I'm not sure which fight you're talking about, but like there's other things at play too. As far as like injury wise, I mean, everybody comes in with injuries, but the spots that I got into were particularly bad for the injuries that I had. Like, and so that didn't help me at all. It was probably a lot of factors.
Your cornerman should have told you to stay out of those positions if they know your injuries.
Yeah, I know.
Warn you, hey, this gal's moving around behind you. This gal's doing this. You have to do this, because they have a better view of the fight than you do.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fault, Sarah. It wasn't your fault. Okay.
Well, sometimes my coaches too.
What's your fault?
Not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Sometimes when the coaches will see what you do in practice and what I do against some of the guys in there and stuff, and they really believe in me. And so sometimes I feel like they're like, oh, go do this, you can do that. And I'm like, dude, I'm not invincible, okay? Like I can be stopped. I can get knocked out if I get careless at all, like anyone can get knocked out. So sometimes they have a little bit too much trust in me.
Yeah. That's where your trainer should be involved. Your trainer should say, hey, you're fucking up in this area, you know, and you get to this point and you lose your mind. You know? But
We have two Don Fries now. No, Sarah, I have a 2-year-old. Somebody's echoing.
Hold on. Can you hear the echo?
Yes.
Oh, shit, I can too.
Okay.
yeah,
All right, now, Sarah, I have a 2-year-old, and having to watch her all day is just exhausting. From like 8 a.m. till 6. Let's do Elmo. Let's do coloring. Let's do the bounce house. Let's dance. Let's do this.
Oh, you gotta watch your own kid?
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry,
it's-
nobody told you that's what is involved in
brutal.
parenting.
It's brutal because my wife works, and I'm just like, is your husband helping you out, or is it just you watching the baby?
No, absolutely. Like he's awesome. And basically like our kid right now, he's like a year and like 4 months. But he's tons of fun, man. He's just like, he's a little boy's boy. He's playing with little trucks and he wants to wrestle, you know, like he'll just crawl on top of you. Like you could say, I'm gonna get you, you know, and like, so he's at a fun age. So
Yeah,
it's kind of easy to roughhouse with him.
So it's mine, but she's exhausting. Like I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh my.
It's the slow wearing away of your soul.
Now Sarah stayed at my place one time. She's like, hey, I'm gonna be in town for Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Can I stay at your place? I said, I thought she meant like in 3 months. I was like, when? She's like, tonight. And I was like, okay, no, I was in like, so I don't know where I was. I was in like Kentucky or something, but I'm like, hey, my wife, hey, could we have Sarah and her family stay at our place? And my wife's like, sure. So we went out and got like a bed, and she said, you were a great mom, but you curse a lot in front of your kid. You're like,
I do.
You're like, this motherfucker, or fuck that, or whatever. Like, you're not worried about your 7-year-old cursing
Nope.
at all?
Listen,
They're gonna
this
hear
little
that
girl,
shit regardless.
Yes,
Yeah.
so she was raised in a wrestling room and in an MMA gym, so she hears it all the time. But she's such a little goody two shoes. Like even when I'm gone, they're like, her dad gave her permission. She's like, you know, you can cuss. Mom's not here. She's like, no, like she wouldn't do it. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, she's around it now. My little boy, I don't know, man. He seems to really enjoy things he shouldn't be doing. So that might be a different story.
Yeah.
No,
Sounds
no,
about right.
Don, Sarah is an athlete, an Olympian. I know that you've been with thousands of women. Have you ever hooked up with a girl as like an Olympian or an athlete?
an athlete, not Olympian. No.
Oh.
Do male Olympians count?
What does
How
hook
about
up
what
mean?
you
I
want?
mean, you
I mean, like
know.
go on a date or like ask out or like bang or something. I know that. I know, but but I know. Well, Dom's always like trying to teach men how to become more manly. So I was wondering if a girl like you, who's like a real strong woman, would intimidate a guy like Don Frye. But who knows?
No, I'd ask her to hit me. I'd pay for that.
I mean,
Oh, boy.
depending on the circumstances, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Here we go.
But
Now we're heating up.
Yeah.
Guys, this is how bad porn starts.
Yeah, this is how. Thank you, Grant.
Just
Caveman,
foreplay, yeah.
Caveman, where did you
I
meet your
think you'd
girlfriend?
make a great porn star, Don Frye.
Yeah. Caveman, where did you meet your girlfriend?
Where'd I meet her?
Yeah.
In my backyard, I beat up her boyfriend.
Really?
Dead serious in high school, yeah.
And then you
In
just
high
took-
school. You guys became high
Yeah, so
school.
like Grant was saying, like, okay, so in high school, my backyard was the place where everyone met up to fight. And there was fights there all the time, but a lot of them involved me. And I beat up this dude she was dating at the time, and sure enough, it turned her on.
yeah, he's like, you're mine now.
Yeah.
She's
Very
like,
shortly after that, we were dating.
Wow, that's a real. Is that how you got the nickname Caveman? Like you just beat
Right.
the guy up and took the girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Did she pay?
Maybe I might have even dragged her away by her hair.
God.
There you go.
Well,
There-
Sarah said she would never date a guy that she could beat.
She
in
liked it
wrestling.
though. I promise. She liked it.
Sarah said she would never date a guy that she could beat in
Sure.
wrestling. So there's like 3 guys she can choose from in her whole life.
Yeah, seriously.
Now, Grant, I saw a video of you grappling with 2 girls at once. what happened there?
So,
Yeah,
My
Grant, tell us
girlfriend-
about that story.
the one at the gym or the? Never mind. My girlfriend was training with Laura Sanko. They're both 105ers, and they were going pretty hard. And I made a joke. I said I could beat up both of you at the same time. And Laura said, "No, you couldn't." And I looked at her. I was like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You guys are like both of you together don't weigh more than me. Like, I'm pretty sure I could take both of you." And so she was like, "Let's get it." And they got it.
They beat you up?
No, he submitted both of them.
Oh.
Yeah, he
At the
about
same
to
time?
say.
The
Yeah.
first time, the first
I was about to
time,
say, take back your undefeated record, dude.
the first time they were just like, "I'll go high, you go low," and the one that went low, I just guillotined her, and then it's me versus a 105-pound woman. So, but then the second time it was actually like an 8-minute long match, and there was actually some strategy that was
Nice.
involved, but I let it go a little bit longer.
Now, Sarah, Grant just called out your teammate Darren Elkins. Any advice on how he should beat Darren Elkins?
I would never give that. First of all, Darren Elkins would survive the total freaking apocalypse. It would be the cockroaches and Darren Elkins alive.
Yeah.
He's conventional. Yeah. No, but no, Darren, man, he's my boy. I would never. But I think that if you're,
How much? How much money?
how much
There's a
money?
number.
What?
Everyone has a
The
number.
number. Always
Not
a
me,
number.
man. Loyal.
Hey, DM us the number.
Hey, if you need tricks, if you need advice, then I don't suggest you take a fight against Darren Elkins.
Wow.
If you're not, I'm just
Damn.
saying, if you don't go in and say, "Hey, I already got it. I don't need anybody's advice," then I'm
I mean,
sorry.
he's only had like 50 fights in the UFC. If I don't,
That's just like sanctioned fights, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you met him.
Get him, Grant. I'm Team Grant.
heck yeah.
I like
Come on.
Elkins. I like Grant too. I like both of them. They're both good guys. Sarah, who do you want to fight next?
So what I would prefer would be like a top 5 girl. So I've told him that, okay, I came back, I fought somebody. It was my first fight after being pregnant and stuff like that. But I was like, any of the girls in the top 5, I'm ready to go. And I've been training, so I don't know when I'll get the call. I don't know what they're doing with shows, but besides, I have not been eating great, but I usually don't have to cut that much weight, so I'm okay. But I've been training, so
Yeah.
they line them up, I'll knock them down.
And then is that bare knuckle boxing, Dave, going to happen with that guy again? The guy he was like talking, or is it going to be someone different?
Fucking Superman guy? I don't know, man. We'll see. Whoever, like, they've supposedly postponed the show to June 20th. So if you guys don't know, 24 hours out from my fight, it got canceled due to COVID, and which really sucks because I couldn't line my pockets with money. And so it got postponed to June 20th. So I'm just waiting to figure out what's gonna happen, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's my birthday.
Now you said you've been drinking all day. Have you been drinking all day?
Not yet.
But yes, your days.
Oh, literally, yeah, probably 5 days a week, honestly.
Aren't you
Not
worried?
heavily, like I have a few drinks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Solid.
Sarah, have you?
Like a gentleman's
White Claw,
whiskey.
man.
Now, Sarah, you don't
What'd you
smoke
say?
weed. Do you drink and smoke weed?
No.
Nothing. Right?
So I'll drink here and there, but I'm such a lightweight, man. Like 2 beers and I'm like totally buzzed. But I just have like a low tolerance. But I don't do very much. I got babies, can't be getting trashed with a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I hear
Hey,
you.
I got 3 kids. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you can have a couple
10
drinks
o'clock.
and not be
10
trashed.
o'clock. They hit the bed and I hit the bottle.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, one of us has a lot better tolerance than me.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
I like it.
Yeah,
Now,
why do you think you drink so much?
how's Say's Northcutt doing, Sarah?
So I haven't seen him. Well, first of all, the gym's been closed, but I haven't seen him before that.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how long it's going to take to fix everything, or like when he's completely cleared. So
Now, do you think they should have fights right now, like on May 9th, or hold off?
So if they're going to do it in the safest way possible, I think, yeah. I think that if you know that everybody who's there is not infected, if they can test, then that's a safe place to be. It's safer than my supermarket that maybe someone's sick or maybe they're not. I don't know. So truthfully, like, I think it can be run in a way that the only person I truly come into close contact with is my opponent, and that's it. You know, like, nobody else has to be close to me. But I think that also sports that have a natural social distancing, like, if I heard tomorrow that tennis was going to open, I'd be like, oh, look how far apart they are. Let the tennis players play tennis. So, I mean, I think that you got to apply some kind of logic to it.
Now, Sara, you're obviously like a great person. You're a role model. You're a sweetheart. And you're also the kind of person that doesn't put out right away. I can tell. Like, it takes a lot. You're not like a three. You're like a 3-dater.
Low tolerance to alcohol, though. So.
Yeah, but I don't drink around guys in the beginning.
How do I get my daughter to be like you? Because I don't want her being a whore and putting out to guys like Don Frye or the Caveman.
Are you slut shaming? Are you slut shaming right now?
Yes. How do I get?
I thought you were a good man.
Okay, I'll tell you what worked for me. I was raised around wrestlers, and I listened to them, and I listened how they talked about other girls, and I said, that's not going to be me. So they taught me by just being one of the guys and listening. You know, I'm like, I knew who they respected, I knew who they didn't, and so I knew what I wanted.
If my daughter was like any of the guys I know, she would have hundreds of sex partners.
Yeah.
Don, any advice on raising daughters? Making sure they don't become whores?
No, I don't know because they all left me, a decade ago. So they all bailed.
Grant, how long did it take for your girlfriend to put out?
I'm still trying.
Nice. Nice. Now she's a fighter too, right?
Yeah. She fights at 105. She's a jacked little female pit bull.
Who does she fight for? Still local promotions or?
Yeah, she's just an amateur.
She
is a great amateur. She's wonderful.
Oh, you're in trouble.
She's pointing a gun at me right now.
Backpedal.
An amateur.
Whoa.
Do you corner her in her fights?
Unfortunately, every fight I say, "Hey, can I just sit in the stands and freak out in the stands?" She's like, "No, I need you," and I'm like, "Well,
yeah."
But
Sara, does your husband corner you?
No, he's not even allowed in the locker room. I don't. So I can train with him. It's kind of just strange. I just get into a different mindset, and you know, I'm kind of like a total bitch, and I don't want to do that to him. Plus, if he's nervous for me, he's like the closest person I am to in the entire world. So like his nerves are gonna kind of rub off on me, and then I'm gonna start feeling nervous because he's nervous for me. So like this is a big deal, and so I just like to have him separate, like in a way, and then just come see him afterwards.
Yes, that makes sense. Dave, does your wife come to your fights?
Yeah, she's been to probably 95% of them, honestly.
Yeah, and is she supportive of the bare knuckle boxing?
I mean, she doesn't give a shit at this point, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's seen me go through everything from getting beat up to knocking people out. So, yeah, I don't know. You know who the most fun is? My mom. My dad shits his pants. He can't even be in the arena. Which I would feel like it would be backwards for most parents, but my mom loves it, dude. I can hear her voice over my cornerman, anybody, every time I'm fighting. She'll be screaming, yelling elbows and knees, you know, typical shitty fan comments, but they're awesome coming from my mom. You know what I mean?
Now, what were Don Frye's parents like?
They were good people. Man. You know, they supported me. Like when Becky Levi and I went to my parents' house, telling them I was going to go fight in the UFC. They looked at each other and said, well, we might as well support him. The boy's going to do what he wants to anyway. So, you know, they were all for it.
Did they ever come to your fights in Pride?
No, they got to come to one fight for a Heroes fight. I think I fought the guy from South Korea, and my mom went with my ex-wife. My dad, he was having heart problems, so he stayed at the hotel.
Got it. And Sarah, your parents, when you told them that you're gonna be a fighter, would they support for it or no?
So they probably wish that I still did wrestling, you know, but they support me, but my family and my friends, they're like, you know, we all love that you're chasing your dreams and everything, but we'll be real happy when you retire. I don't think that they like the stress that it causes them. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. You know, they're like, no, it's us. The nerves of watching someone you love, we hate it. So
My
they're
parents,
supportive, but they
yeah.
also are, huh?
Yeah, when I quit college wrestling, my parents were so happy, just because the weight cutting, they hated it, starving myself all the time. They hated it. They didn't see any. Plus, I'm older. I'm 41. There was no pro. Like I wasn't in the Olympics. They were just like, "What the fuck are you doing this for?" It was crazy. It was crazy. Well, listen, you guys are all awesome. All of you. Dave Rickels, fucking bare knuckle boxer, fighter, fucking badass, father, love it. 3. How old are you?
Compulsive masturbator also.
Compulsive masturbator. Are you really or no?
No. I mean, who doesn't masturbate?
Right.
But
I haven't masturbated since this fucking Corona started because my wife's here. And like
I was gonna ask that question. Like, for those men who have wives at home, where do you hide to do it?
I don't. Dude, she'd be so angry.
Shower with them? Why? It's like you're just back to 13.
I have a clear glass window at my shower. Okay.
Dude, my wife would be so insulted if I jerked off and she caught me. She'd be like, "I'm right here. Why are you fucking jerking off?"
Oh, dude, yes, that's a very real thing.
Yeah, I don't even think about other people. I feel like she knows if I'm thinking of other people. Because I'm, you know. Sarah, you think of your husband all the time during sex, right?
Yeah, I do, because I have my eyes open. So it's hard to think of somebody else when you see a person in front of you. But I don't understand why a girl would be upset if a guy was masturbating. Like, I don't know. I don't see that as like, that's not real competition. Like, if masturbating was so great, why would they put up with your shit?
Well, because
obviously you're better.
I know, but at a certain time, guys only have so many loads per week, you know, and so the girls.
Yeah, well, you're talking.
What are you telling us? What are you telling us, Adam?
No, I got about 3 or 4 during
how much? Hey, how much?
Get your numbers up, you rookie.
Well, you're banging every.
Those are rookie numbers.
You're banging every night. You're banging every night. Okay,
every night.
Really?
Yeah, bring her over here.
Wow. And Sarah, you're banging your husband every night, Sarah?
I masturbate in the morning and have sex at night.
Listen, I don't know about the rest of you. If shit were like 2 minutes, maybe I would be down for it every single night. But this is like verging on a 3rd workout. I'm like, holy, you know, like, I'm not doing it every night. I don't need a 3rd workout a day. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then
if it's like every day, it's like brushing your teeth. It's not. It doesn't have the same excitement.
But
it can't be too long though. You gotta like.
Yeah, I would say it becomes a chore at a certain point.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Wait,
you
Grant,
showed me.
How many times banging your girlfriend, Grant?
No, I'm not showing anybody. I'm just saying what's right for me. You know.
Grant, how many times a week are you?
I'm a virgin, dog. What are you talking about?
You know he's not gonna answer that.
Normally, whenever somebody asks me to do a live interview, I usually, tell my parents, hey, I'm going to do this interview if you want to watch. I'm so glad I didn't tell them this time. I had a feeling, hey, you're going to want your parents to sit out of this one. Mom, if you're watching.
You think your parents don't want you to have sex? Your parents want you to. They probably want grandkids.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, at least they'll know someone in the family's getting laid.
Your parents are slut shaming you, Grant.
Don Frye, how many times are you banging your girl per week?
Yeah, I crippled the bitch, man. I cracked her rib time.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Wait, you're crippling bitches? Really? Sarah, have you ever had someone cripple you during sex?
No. I'm a little bit hardier than most.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think you can cripple Sara, Don. I don't care. I mean, Sarah's, even seeing her, she got fucking 10-pack. I mean, she's fucking jacked. She doesn't even work out. Her muscles are big. I mean, Don, you wouldn't last around with Sara McMann.
That'd be a way to go, right?
Good answer.
It's a good way to go out.
I want to die. I want to die.
Death by
I wanna
shoo-shoo.
die. Right.
Futurama.
Well, Tyler, you're masturbating. You live with your girl now. You're masturbating still, or no?
I do not live with my girl. We are quarantined separate, so I'm a one-a-day guy. I'm just, it's gotta get done.
Yeah, it's maintenance.
Yeah.
See how much testosterone I have going on, though? You know what I'm saying?
You're
There's
also
a lot going.
You're also a caveman. You're also fucking named the caveman, okay? And you left MMA because it wasn't violent enough to do bare knuckle boxing. You're a fucking weirdo, man.
That's semi-true, actually, because my last fight was super fucking boring, and I did not enjoy it.
So you're like, fuck it, bare knuckle boxing is the way to go.
Well, you can only fall down or knock someone out, so sounds fun.
Do you train with Dakota Cochran?
I haven't, but he's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen him he's knocked some people the fuck out, dude. He's brutal. He's awesome. I'll beat his ass, but
he was a solid MMA fighter, you know, and then he went into bare knuckle boxing and he's fucking wrecking everybody.
Dude, yeah, it's pretty awesome to see, man. He's a good dude in person too. Like, from every encounter that I've ever had with him, like he's just a good human being.
Yeah, I think some people just find that they're like niche, you know.
Yeah.
Sara, I honestly think you could become champion. I honestly think that like you're a fight away from the title shot. You know.
Yeah, but I gotta do it in an exciting way. Like I have to finish people. I mean, it's just there's no other way around it.
But sometimes you'll be on top of them and you'll throw 900 punches trying to get the ref to stop it. Do you think sometimes you're better off throwing half as many but harder?
I don't know. I'm just up there trying to finish the fight. Like it's not like I don't think that the ones that I'm throwing are not hard.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure.
Yeah, let her get on top of you, Adam.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Come on, man.
well, that I would do. Just I'd be hard. Okay, but I'm just saying. Sara couldn't handle me. Yeah, right.
Everybody believes that.
Yeah, fuck that. I like Sarah's husband, by the way, is like a tall black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's like the nicest guy, but he's one of those like silent but deadly guys, like very unassuming. But he's the guy that like fucks your wife when you're not looking. Like he's like that. He's that like really good listener guy. You know, that guy who's just like a real sweet guy that you got to watch out. Not that he's trying to fuck anyone's wife except for Sara. Am I right though? He seems like a unassuming player.
No, so he is like I think that because he's just like a happy-go-lucky guy. He's super mellow, but he has like he has a switch. You know, like I think that most guys probably have a switch, but you know. He comes from the South. He's a little bit more of a country boy than, you know, and so he'll do what needs to be done. But I mean, like before that, he's just not tripping out on everybody and trying to like go around and, you know, peacock and everything. He's just a good dude. But, you know, if you cross him, then you're gonna, you know, pay the price. So it's good. I like that. I don't want somebody that's going out trying to like, you know, show off and show everybody whatever. Someone who's just a regular person.
Yeah, no, I like the guy. He's unlike fucking this panel. Listen.
I bet you they're the same way. I bet you they're freaking cool as hell, fun to hang out with. But man, you cross them and they're just not going to back down.
No, these are three badasses that fucking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I remember Grant coming up to me. He was 14 years old, and he's like, "I'm gonna make it to the UFC one day." I'm like, "Sure you are, kid." And then here he is. Fucking, it's so nice. It's so nice to see. And then Don Frye, fucking the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. And then fucking the caveman, Dave Rickels. Who would have thought, man? Fucking just a
good crew.
Good crew. Listen, Sara, stay safe. Caveman, thank you. Thank you, Frye. Tomorrow night I got a show online. I'll send you guys the link if you want to see it. It should be fun if you guys are bored tomorrow night.
Sure.
Fucking,
it's always fun.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, man. It's always
Can
fun
I
when
win a
pop.
bottle of wine?
Yeah.
Yes,
Bottle of wine,
absolutely. Yeah, no, we gave it all the wine. It's an actual comedy show. But thank all of you guys. Stay safe and God bless you guys.
Take care,
Thank you.
guys.
Later, guys.
Good night. Good luck.